Fashion editor of SHOWstudio. I am here in Womenswear, main landmark in Milan, to talk to you guys about Prada Autumn Winter 19. So here is a little broken ticket. I got broken in my pocket, but the collection was called Anatomy of Romance. And already very exciting because the menswear show had some womenswear in it, so we were kind of wondering if this would be a progression, much of the same. Really interested to see where it goes. And so Anatomy of Romance, the theme behind this is how romance can kind of soothe fear, or how romance and fear sometimes go hand in hand, as Michio was saying backstage. But before I get onto the clothes, just a little kind of an appetizer to the review. So menswear last season really focused on this kind of kitschy horror and the patching of things together, lots of Frankenstein horror references, but really stunning and really amazing. And it was in the Fondazione, the menswear, and they had the same set this season in the Fondazione. So lots of those foamy triangles and bulbs throughout, and the idea is this creates an eerie atmosphere. So you know it's about romance, but you're not sure if it's a happy romance, if they're in love, is she going to kill him? We don't really know. So with that in mind, thinking about menswear and womenswear from last season and how they were really focused around this kind of terrifying kitschy horror, that was back again in full force this season. The music was a major indicator of that. So we had, well, it was done by Frederick Sanchez as it was last season, and last season we had kind of a horror element with Adam's Family and lots of kitschy songs, and this season much less kitsch, much more aggressive. So the music kind of segued from Snow White's Someday My Prince Will Come to instrumental version of Bad Romance to Marilyn Manson, so you're kind of getting a vibe of what the mood was at Prada. And this romance and fear, obviously Bad Romance, Lady Gaga's a big indicator as to where we're going with this, but the fashion was kind of amalgam of all those things. So we have the romantic floral patterns, which are actually photocopied on dresses, really beautiful skirts and physical 3D flower elements popping out of the prints on white coats, skirts, and the skirts were penciled to the knee, and flowers on mini bags. And I thought these mini bags were genius because they're basically what people have been searching on eBay for the past 6 months. They're very shoppable. They're mini sateen bags with three-dimensional flowers on them. I can see those going down like hotcakes. Shoes were incredibly stompy. So there we have this duality that I was talking about, with this stompy, aggressive boots, talking about the fear. Michio was saying kind of the fear of war to come and real political impending doom. She did mention Brexit backstage as well. So there's this fear element with the stomping boots and the really gothic looks, all black, beautiful coats, but all black. So there's this really gothic, grungy vibe, again with the Marilyn Manson that definitely makes you think. But then with these wonderful floral elements and lace elements, and so you have these quintessential feminine, romantic stuff, romantic bits and bobs, lace across the shoulders, as I said, floral on the bags, mixed with this really tough, wonderful, grungy goth nylon coats and stompy boots. So that I thought was fantastic. Talking about last season with Frankenstein elements, last season that was kind of a cut and paste, and there were elements of that here too. So there were jackets which this part, the chest part, the torso, was quintessential Prada coat or quintessential Prada blazer, but the arms were a puffer nylon. So this literal Frankensteining of fashion, pasting things together that shouldn't work but do, and something that only Prada seems to get away with. But that Frankenstein also informs references. So looking at the Instagram on Prada before the show started, they were talking about they had Tavi Gevinson take over the Instagram, and she was going to a bookstore before because she was terribly early for the Prada show, and the book that she picked up, or one of them, was Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. So that was an indicator again that this was going to be a slight nod to the science fiction novel, and I think it really fits in with Prada, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, because she was 18 when she wrote it. She was kind of a pioneer of a genre, which you could argue that Prada has been for many items, and she's often kind of misconstrued as that her husband wrote the book. There's kind of lots of controversy around the book, but it's either way you see it, it kind of defines a genre. So I thought that was very Prada in itself. And then we have the element of Frankenstein patchwork. So there's just so many levels here. So the book and Mary Shelley as a person, the Frankensteining of fashion together, and actually the Frankenstein duo. So Mr. and Mrs. Frankenstein, that wonderful kitschy program that you can watch. That was Mr. and Mrs. Frankenstein, the wonderful, you recognise Mrs. Frankenstein with the huge hair with a white streak going through it. She was on jumpers and as a motif throughout, atop these kind of rose prints. So the idea of Frankenstein is perhaps searching for love, and that's what the cartoon and the programme is often about. Frankenstein, this character, he's been created and now he wants to find love like humans can, and he finds Mrs. Frankenstein, and that's this really wonderful connection with this whole romance and fear, because you would be terrified if this part man, part monster comes running towards you just looking for a kiss. But it's that lovely duality. So he's looking for love, he just wants a bit of romance, and that's kind of the quintessential what we're getting here in this Prada collection. Beautiful romantic skirts, Frankenstein's falling in love, but actually stomping great boots, stomping great tailoring, and really intense Marilyn Manson and rock and Lady Gaga soundtrack. I think the soundtrack was fantastic. It really helped inform the clothes. But so a slightly negative takeaway from Lucia's referencing, in that the SS is romance, but actually it comes from a real fear and a real political fear. And Lucia was just saying she's backstage, she's terrified of war, she's terrified of where the world is going and what we can do to prevent it, and her answer is love, which I think is a wonderful statement. This was quite possibly my favourite Prada collection of all time. I'm a sucker for anything pop culture, and the Wednesday Addams hair, the music, the kitschy Frankenstein reference, the wonderful roses, it just ticked so many boxes for me. I thought the shapes alone were fantastic, and then we add all these amazing references on top. It was absolutely spectacular. They also had wonderful, I should mention, another pop culture reference, wonderful glittery shoes a la There's No Place Like Home. What's that? Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Dorothy, there we go, yeah, a la Dorothy. So it was just really, really spectacular. This sounds awfully cheesy, but I know when something really moves you. My heart was in my mouth watching the show. Like physically I could feel my heartbeat, and that is a real indication that this was just mind-blowing, and you don't get that often, that kind of like actual physical reaction to fashion. My heart literally pounding from how good this collection was. I'm so excited to see where this goes, and I'm so excited to see these clothes up close, because I think there's some beautiful kind of diamante elements that I missed from where I was sat, and then beautiful satin elements. I can't wait to physically touch the clothes. So I'm going to end this review before I get too gushy, but Prada was absolutely spectacular. I urge you to go and see the collection images. If you're watching this on SHOWstudio, just scroll down, you can see the images I'm talking about. If you're watching through YouTube, head on over to SHOWstudio and you can see me talk while you look at the images. Thank you guys very much for watching. I'll be back soon with another live review very shortly. I've got Moschino from today and loads of reviews tomorrow, so make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss a trick. See you very soon.